Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Frank Payne with another episode of Loud and Unfiltered. Thanks for joining us today. Got another flashback for you as we take a trip back to 2015. We'll be talking to Neil Sanderson, the drummer from 3 Days Grace. They got a new singer in the band at the time. They're about to go out on tour in support of their then new album titled Human. Oh, so much going on with 3 Days Grace. We'll talk about the butterflies that Neil still gets before he hits the stage. The good and bad of being human. Having all those number one songs at rock radio, and the importance of raw emotion and not sugarcoating the music. We're going to pick up where he talks about prepping for a tour. Here's Loud and Unfiltered. What all goes into, I guess like the pre-tour prep and each night and everything, because for the people that haven't seen 3 Days Grace, I mean, they are really in store for a treat.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you. We're I think the biggest thing for us is like we feed off the crowd's energy.
Yeah.
So it's like if there's a crowd, people going crazy, and it's just like there's that intensity going on out there. That energy just kind of moves up onto the stage, awesome. And then we just deliver it back. And like it's the same thing. First of all, the live show is the best part of this whole experience, and all of us in the band kind of share that passion. And it's funny. It's like it hasn't changed in all the years we've done this. That feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach as you're walking up on stage, and that adrenaline rush and the butterflies kind of thing, it still happens like every show. That never has gone away for us. So it's like, it's almost like a drug, if you will, that you get up there and all of a sudden, you just kind of light it up and away you go. And I think just like, Matt as our frontman too, he brings this like new kind of youthful energy where he's like, he comes out just guns blazing, which kind of amps the rest of us up even more.
So, yeah, it keeps you guys on your toes. I mean, that, after a show, do you ever kind of look at them and go, hey, slow down there, kid?
Yeah, well, it was funny, like the first show, which was, it's been 2 years now, but the first show, he just came out flying, he was jumping off stuff. I'm just like, damn, man. So we started hitting the treadmill a little harder, right after that. But that is another thing that we got. It's like for me, if I don't have some sort of cardio regimen going on in the months leading up to tour, I get a very rude awakening the first show.
That's awesome, man, because I can barely walk to the end of the hall without getting winded and everything. I can only imagine what it takes to get you guys prepared for for a tour. And you guys play all the time. I mean, it's downtime is pretty rare for 3 Days Grace.
Yeah, it is, man. But at the end of the day, we kind of like it like that. We're all sort of workaholics, and and even with the way that we made this last record that's coming out. We've actually been making the record for a year and a half now.
Wow.
Which is something kind of new for us. Like traditionally we'd just go and we'd move into a studio. We would obviously write the record before going into the studio, but we'd go into the studio and we wouldn't leave until it's done. And this time around, we wanted to stay on the road, and we wanted to, and we had the luxury of we were recording it in Toronto, which we all live around the area, and so we were able to go into the studio, for like 2 weeks, record a few things, and then jump on the bus and go do like a 3-week tour. And then what that did is it allowed us to like take a step away from the music and really. When we come back, we were more clear-minded on what was right and what wasn't right, and we had a lot of opportunities to sort of tweak things and change things and rewrite stuff, and and then in the process, because we had already had 2 singles out to radio, we were able to tour. We went to Russia and we went to Germany and like UK and stuff. And so we were able to kind of keep touring, and like Painkiller and Machine were already out, and the record was kind of moving along. So it was sort of this thing where, I'd come home and I wouldn't bother unpacking my suitcase. I'd just like bring it in and then head up to the studio and bang out some stuff for a couple weeks, and then we'd go back out on tour and do some more things, which was actually really cool. It was a nice variety of activities, if you will. And I think it made for a better record because we were really able to sort of just like take breathers whenever we wanted to.
I think that's important too. It doesn't matter what you do. If you get really engrossed into something, it's easy to kind of develop blinders, and you kind of fail to see what the overall objective is. So when you're able to take a breather and step back, you get a clear view of of the perspective and the goals that you got set forth. So I think, man, we're really looking forward to it. And just based on I Am Machine and Painkiller, this is going to be just another epic 3 Days Grace album. And who decided on the album or the title Human?
Well, we had it came about just with there's some lyrics in I Am Machine where it's saying here's to being human.
Yeah.
I kind of forget what that feels like, but I would like to kind of feel that once again. And a lot of the record began to sort of one of the common themes is sort of just feeling like you're disconnected from the world around you, and you're controlled by some sort of force that you can't put your finger on, and it makes you feel numb to the world around you and somewhat machine-like. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Just the daily grind, and then just sort of choosing to numb yourself instead of feel stuff whenever when you're going through some struggles. And we've written a lot about that with songs like Pain and that kind of same feeling that we do feel quite often. And then a lot of the record is just articulating the strengths and weaknesses and the good and bad and struggles of just being human,
Right.
and so that's and then the artwork kind of came about with that, and then we thought it was just a great sort of title that sewed all the threads of each song together.
That's awesome. And you're talking about feeling. It's. Let me ask you this: do you still get the same feeling as you did when you got your first number one single? Because for those that are listening right now, I've got Neil on the phone from 3 Days Grace. 3 Days Grace has the record. The most number one songs at Active Rock Radio. I'm not talking about just the most top 10 or top 20 or top 40, which a lot of bands would just really love. I'm talking the most number one songs. I mean, do you get the same feeling that when your management says, hey, you went number one again? Does that change? What's it like?
Man, it doesn't change. It's still that feeling of first of all, we never take it for granted, and we realize how lucky we are to have the support that we do to be able to put up those kind of stats,
Yeah.
And if you really think about it, it's it really boils down to the fans,
right.
Requesting the song and supporting the song, and the stations that have been there for us all along. And, and we just, we're humbled by the fact that we have all that support, and that we've, and for all these years we've been able to sort of just have that happen. And it's one of the coolest things about it is all we're doing is, if you kind of sit and tinker with something, and you got the walls up around it, and you think, you hope that it's cool, and you hope that people like it. I mean, I can only imagine I guess an inventor might feel the same kind of feeling. You're
right.
sitting there and you're tinkering with something, and then you tear it back down again, and you build it back up, and you show it to a few people, and they kind of like it, or one person says it could be better. That's kind of what we do within our band, because we're really collaborative. We all write songs together, lyrics, melody, everybody writes everything. And it's so we've got this small group that we just sit and work and pass the ball around a little bit, and add to it or take away from it. And then when we all kind of look at each other and say, we think this is done, you just kind of throw it up in the air and hope that it flies.
Right.
And when and when it does, it's just this crazy awesome feeling. And one of the biggest things is that lyrically we write about things that go on in our lives,
right,
and the world around us, stuff that we talk about, struggles that everybody goes through, hard things that we go through, and we just we leave nothing out and don't sugarcoat it. We just put it on the record like it's the raw emotion. And I think people really relate to that, and then 3 Days Grace fans know that it comes from a real place, and it becomes real to them because it's stuff that everybody goes through. And I think those are the things that that are important and of value to us, is that realness. And if that's what is really making the connection, then we love that fact.
And you hit the nail on the head. It's people that can relate to your music, and it's every single song that you guys write is 100% relatable. I mean, that's the best part about it. It's there's with many bands and their fans, there's such a disconnect, but with you guys, it's you 3 Days Grace and the fans are all part of the same entity. So that's what I think is probably the coolest thing about you guys, is that you're all part of the same family.
Well, yeah, man, and we within the band, we all respect each other, and if four of us are high-fiving about an idea or something, and one guy's not quite sure that it's good enough, then it's immediately back to the drawing board, no questions asked, because
right.
we all kind of respect each other, that everyone needs to be excited, and that's when it's as good as it's going to get, But one of the things we talk about when we're writing is we try not to write lyrics. It's poetic lyrics that are just so clever and thought out, and Bill Shakespeare type of stuff. And we try to write conversations, stuff that you would actually say to somebody. You know what I mean? Because it's just I think songs where you actually are saying words that you would actually just say to someone in casually, sometimes it's a lot more powerful than trying to get the feather pen out and write something that's very grandiose and overthought.
Yeah,
that's one of the things we always think about.
That's awesome. Okay, now we're sitting here talking about, about 5 minutes ago, when we were relating to Matt and, the new youthful energy in the band, you're and all those years ago, do you realize, I mean, it's been over a decade since Home came out. Does it feel like that it's just flown by? I mean, what all has changed with you over this past decade, and the many number one hits, all the world tours, and everything in between?
You know what, man? It's I don't know that much has changed as far as the feeling.
Yeah.
We just when we went to Russia, it was crazy because we'd never been there. And we went in October, and it's what's changed is the power of the internet. It allows us to go to these remote places. We were in Siberia. We fly to Siberia,
wow.
And there's fans waiting for us with gifts at the airport at 4 a.m. It's what is going on here? And so that being able to sort of cross the boundaries geographically based upon the internet, that's definitely changed. Going to these places where we were 2 hours north of Kazakhstan, and we had fans at the train station. I don't know how they figured out what train we were coming in on, but they were there and bringing us vodka and all these gifts and drawings and stuff. And
wow,
that was just crazy to us. It's amazing, It's because we value the relationship to fans, more than anything. But just to be able to reach fans in these remote places all over the world is something that has changed in such a good way, and it's obviously a direct result of the internet.
Oh, for sure, man. That's fantastic. And that's stuff that you dream of. Of being able to whether you're a professional athlete or a musician or something like that. It's almost those far-reaching places. The fairy tale type of places that everybody dreams of, but not everybody gets to experience it. So hearing your experience with it is really, really cool. Man, that's awesome. Now you're from Canada.
Yeah.
You're from Canada,
yeah,
but
I am from Canada.
Yeah. But you go to Siberia. What's the difference? I mean, because both those places, for dumb Texans like myself, all we think about with both places are, just snow drifts and just tons of snow. What's the difference in climate? Is it about the same? Is it or is it different?
The climate is eerily similar. Yes, I'm actually looking out my window right now, and there's 4 feet of snow everywhere.
Yeah,
it's crazy right now. Yeah. It was definitely cold over there. What's crazy is how spread out it was. I mean, we
really?
in pretty well every flight. If we would be way east of Moscow, but to get to one remote Russian town to the other, we'd always have to fly back to Moscow and back over. So like we put up a lot of air miles on that on that trip for sure. Yeah, super spread out, but it was crazy how there's a like Eastern European there's an equivalent of Facebook, and it's called VK.com.
Yeah,
and it was amazing how connected the fans were to one another. Like they were like, you know, they were kind of just like a lot of like just kind of traveling. Like it was amazing thinking about geographically how big Russia was, and then how connected the fans were, and like they they were like they were organizing like flash mobs and stuff, and it was just like. Yeah, it was totally crazy, man. Like they had, the second video we ever made was called "Just Like You." And,
yeah.
We wore like these masks. We wore these masks for the video, and like there was this when the first time we played the song in like St. Petersburg or something. All of a sudden, we bust into "Just Like You," and like 1,000 people put on these masks.
Holy crap!
What the hell is going on? Yeah, and it was like one person organizing it on VK.com.
Wow, that's incredible, man. That's cool stuff.
Yeah, man. You know what though? Like, I mean, all over the world's great, but coming down to a good Southern rock show, man, is like still special place in our hearts. I mean, there's something to be said about just like the Southern hospitality and just kind of the openness to rock music. And I say, like, anyone that thinks that rock is in a bad place, all you got to do is come down to like Southern U.S. and come to a show where like people are drinking beer all day in the sun, or you know what I mean, listening to stuff all day, and like you can get any kind of meat you want on a stick, and like you can and it's just like and the rock, just the spirit is like stronger than ever, and that hasn't changed, man, in all the years we've been coming down there. So we're super stoked to get down there.
Right on. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's, we've been talking for quite some time now, but hey, thanks for calling in.
Right on, man. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, that one was from 2015 featuring Neil Sanderson, the drummer of 3 Days Grace. Absolutely love that band. Got to see them multiple times in concert. Looking forward to many more times to get to see them in concert. If you get a chance, man, they're incredible. Absolutely incredible live. One of the most high energy shows that you'll ever see. And plus, anytime when there's pyro and a badass band, you're going to have a good time. Hey, appreciate you guys joining us on Loud and Unfiltered. Don't forget, you can find us at DaleJr.forPresident.com. LoudandUnfiltered.com was already taken, so we went with the next best thing. But the lawyers tell me, well, I got to give a disclaimer. We are in no way affiliated with Dale Earnhardt Jr. or his potential desire to run for president. That could be pretty dang cool, though, because I love NASCAR. Head over to the website, check out some of the previous episodes of the show, get some merch, and check out all the other music news and more. Again, DaleJr.forPresident.com. Hope you have a fantastic one. Thanks so much for joining us on Loud and Unfiltered. Please remember, be a good human. Drink that Diet Dr. Pepper and stay loud and unfiltered, y'all.